Right quick, I'd like to share some exciting news with you guys. A couple weeks ago, I was contacted by a film agency. We're going to be at Cherokee Lake doing something kind of fishing show, from what I gathered. And they wanted to know the history of it, and they needed some guy to appear on screen to do some casual talking points for the camera and for the audience. And guess who they called? Don't know too much about it yet, but stick to the Facebook page and I'll keep you updated.
Are we on? Are we live? Are you going to cut this?
I won't cut this. Welcome to the Old History Project. Here we are at a very historic property here in Hawkins County, and joining me is none other than Dr. Warren Dockter from the East Tennessee Historical Society.
We're here looking at Stony Point.
Stony Point here in Sirgoinsville. Very, very unique house, as you guys will come to see here very shortly. So when this house was built, this is built a little bit later. I think this is built maybe, this is a breezeway. It's maybe built in the 1850s, maybe a little bit later. Of course, it was closed in at some point. Original kitchen was downstairs there. I'll cover it shortly. And there is one picture from this, but I don't have access to it. So of course, this is a little bit more modern. More modern of a kitchen. Stuff was added on recently. The house has been renovated to an extent. Now, this right here is the best condition one of these I think I have ever seen. Imagine how many loaves of cornbread that thing has cooked. Big old slab of wood up there. So, before we go into the rest of the house, y'all, do want to note that this house does have a security system. It is watched very closely by very close by people. This is sort of an act of restoration. You know, don't come up here. If you do come up here, you're not really going to like what happens when you get caught. And you will get caught. County, there's people close by. So please don't trespass, and just keep it at that. All right, so before we go into the main part of the house, we'll explore this over here a little bit. I'm missing a part. Let's go down here. So this wasn't attached to the house, because you can see right there is a window, right there is a wooden dowel. So the folks that own this say that they remember, so this was added on, obviously. Let me look at that modern brick. They say that the stove was over here somewhere. And here's your little storage room. So this is a very, very remarkable house. Another little utility closet. Trying to show the detail of everything for you guys. So let's go up here and check this out, and then we'll go through the main part of the house. We'll try and do this all in one take. Well, some of this has been redone at some point. Family pictures. To what extent, I'm not entirely sure. I know that all this was redone. This is not original. This is the bathroom with no porch. we'll show that here in just a little bit. So man, that'd be a cool shower. And let me tell you folks, I have always wanted one of them tubs with the feet. My girlfriend has too. Tennessee Historical Quarterly, 1953. What about that? The view of the outside, some vines coming in. So this is pretty cool right here. I don't know if that's original, if that was put in at some point, but so you got your fireplace here, and there's vents come up, and they bring extra heat into the room. So the house originally started its life as a federal, and obviously you have like the Georgian and the federal. Georgians are more for up north, I believe, kind of like a New England kind of thing. And then you have the federal. Now, the common story with the whole Georgian federal is that federal, even though it's the same thing, folks building federals didn't want to have their house called after, named after a style called after King George. So I can see that. All right, so I'll go into the main part of the house here and just look at the size of this wall, or this doorway. Oh, and there's some lead glass too. It's neat. So this is at least 3 bricks wide, maybe 4. So it's 3 layers of masonry. It's really neat. You see how the walls, the inside of the walls are stepped. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but the bricks do need to be pointed. They need to be pointed, remortared and all that. And as I'm walking through here, I'm looking at all this intricate woodwork here. You know, so it was built, the National Register document claims that it was known to have existed in 1792 when Captain William Armstrong married his wife Elizabeth Hawkins, I think was her name. It may have been built earlier. Just based off of this, I theorize that it was built, or off of what I'm seeing, maybe mid 1780s. You know, maybe he had a cabin he stayed in while he built it. So, just right quick, Captain Armstrong was he was a veteran of quite a few different expeditions against the Cherokee, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody knows a little bit more about it. Quite a few expeditions against the Cherokee and a couple of battles during the American Revolution. And he had a hefty land grant as such here in Carter's Valley. So Carter's Valley, of course, you know, this is the lower reaches of what would have originally been the Washington District, I believe. So just keep that in mind. All right, folks, before we get into too far into covering this house here, I want to let you guys know to please consider getting yourself a membership with the East Tennessee Historical Society. Comes with all kinds of awesome perks. They send you all kinds of good reads periodically, and you get notified when they're having their little seminars, and of course always free museum admission. So just consider it. You know, at least go check them out, or if you don't want to join, at least go check out the Museum of Tennessee History down there on Gay Street in downtown Knoxville. Check it out. March of 1797, Prince Louis Philippe, Duke d'Orleans, the Duke of Orleans, was coming through Tennessee when he was exiled from France, him and his brother. Excuse me. So he actually stopped here, and this is attested to in his book. I have his book, and I've been reading it. Very cool stuff. Although he doesn't mention the house, he mentions that he stopped at Mr. Armstrong's, which is very, very awesome. He stayed one night here, and he mentions that the enslaved person that he had was sent to kill a deer and prepare it for the family. Now, I don't rightly remember what page it's on in his book. It's a Diary of My Travels in America. If you don't have it, I suggest getting it. It's a good read. Learn some real history. I'm just looking at all this stuff. And then I'm also been eyeballing this mantle over here, because you got round nails in it, like right there. And I don't know if this is original to the house. This is extremely fancy, a show of wealth for whoever put it here. I just like to compare this to other houses that I've visited. This is one of the larger ones and more fancy ones. Of course, Hayslope doesn't have anything like this. This chimney is 3 times the size of Hayslope's. But this may be about as close to the original as you're going to get. But there's another one here. We'll look at it too. That may be 1850s. Maybe could be original. I don't know. Somebody a little bit more educated than I can point me in the right direction. So as we walk in through here, this is a very, very common theme in these federal houses. This is what's called an English parlor or an English hall, where there's a hall that separates the middle of the house. That old secretary's desk. More lead glass. This is common in a lot of the larger federal homes. Some of them don't have it, but see, the thing about these federal homes is you have 2 different kinds. You have the New England sort of federal, and then you have the the Appalachian, which has the outside chimneys on the outside, and some of them, some of the New England ones are chimneys recessed on the inside. I've seen both down here. So there's lots of stuff in this room. Lots of old books. Nothing really of value. Whatever that is. So something else I'd like to point out too is this. I always like to point out the mantelpieces. That's really cool. The cast iron that would have covered it. There's probably a crane up there somewhere. Oh, yep, there it is. You can barely see it poking out from the bottom layer of brick there on the top. This looks a little bit similar to the one I've seen at Rural Mount. Because Rural Mount's about the same age as this. So that's a piano. Whatever kind it is, I don't know. I walked through priorly with the owners, and there was a date on this, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was remanufactured in 1873. What do we got here? It's a little P.O. box sort of thing. If you guys can see that pretty well. So, what is this? 1943 Stony Point. Maybe from the Churchill post office. So something else before we go up is look at the woodwork on this set of stairs. I think this would have been, this is a very, very key feature of that a Quaker Mason would have done this. This looks very, very awesome. Look at that up there. Wouldn't be no sliding down this rail. So another thing too is you guys that study old history, unintended, will know this, but for those that don't, for these older houses, from what I've found anyway, the taller that your ceiling was, the more money that you had. Look at these stairs too. That's awesome. There is a little cupboard here. Bunch of old bells. Poison antidote. I don't really think poison's too much of an antidote. So now we're in the second story. This is technically a 3-story house. This is cool. I seen this earlier. This says W.J. Fowles home. Fowley. Don't know where that is. I've never seen it before. But it's addressed to Mrs. Armstrong in 1939. Somebody knows where that is, please let me know. Books. A view from this bedroom here. Man, that's an awesome looking Chevrolet out there too. Wonder what that was for. So I've seen this earlier, and I've been trying to put it together as to why there wouldn't have been a fireplace on this side of the house, because there's one right down below. But this is kind of weird. There's a wood stove here, and obviously that's a little bit later, but I don't know. Maybe they bricked it up and then covered it up. I don't know. Doesn't make much sense. Man, that would be one majestic bathroom trip in the morning. I don't think I'd ever get over that. So obviously that's a little bit newer, doing some insulation work. Well, I really couldn't imagine having a window up above the bathroom. A little funny. I'd play some pranks on people. Some dresses. Perhaps from Mrs. Armstrong. So the Armstrong family has owned this house since it was built. That technically makes it, without being a century farm, it is a century farm. So look at this mantelpiece. Obviously I don't know what the date on this is. So obviously it might not be original because of that right there. But it still looks cool. And it still fits the room. Mantelpieces and fireplaces and chimneys are my favorite thing to look at. Some coal. Maybe Santa Claus dropped it off for some naughty kids. Some old newspapers. 1949. Who's that? Miss Anna Lynn Evans. Engagement to Mr. Jack McCall Murray. Son of Mr. and Mrs. W.A. Murray. Of 2915 Linden Avenue. I think that's Kingsport. Oh, that's the Knoxville Journal. Never mind. I guess I need to learn how to read. More dresses. Automatic blanket. So this is stepped again up there on this side, on this upper level of the house. It's another step in the brick. Could use to be pointed. Well, that's not creepy at all. Trying to walk through slowly and make sure I get everything in. Some of you people that watch my stuff say that you want me to make longer videos. Well, here you go. This is going to be a long one. Man, look at the woodwork around that window though. Obviously this brick needs to be repointed. Lots of work to be done here. But this house, so it's during the Civil War, for what I've been told, when General Sherman came through here, one of the enslaved that the family had overheard them talking and saying that General Sherman was coming here and that they needed to hide their weapons. Now, I don't know about you guys, but back then, well, when one of the generals was coming through, if they would have found weapons, he said he would have burned the house down. So, slave reportedly hid them up somewhere in one of the porches, and they never found them when they come through. There's a lot of these bigger houses, they would have commandeered them for use for a couple of nights, maybe a couple months, like General Longstreet commandeered the the ninny hole. This is just cool. Alright, so here we are on the upper level, the attic, or I call this the torture room. And we'll go through all this here shortly. Sorry for throwing you. Lots of stuff up here. It's a war uniform. World War II, maybe. Sorry, y'all. Don't know the era on that. Maybe somebody who knows a little bit more about war uniforms can. Well, that's cool. Alex. So that would have been for Alexander Armstrong, the 6th, I think. Acme Steel Company. Don't know what that would have been for. Look like some ammunition boxes down there. Don't know. Piping for a stove. Some old cowboy boots. That's neat. Alright, keep throwing y'all. My camera keeps slipping out of my hand. Y'all can see all this. Well, this would have been for like a doctor's room, or maybe a watchmaker, printer. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what that thing is. There's an old clock. I can't make it out, it's gone. This is cool. Don't know how old it would have been, but evidently pretty old. New York Times over there. Kind of weird looking desk, maybe. Sewing machine, I don't know. Saddles down there. So this is cedar. This is what we had at Hayslope before we removed one of the rooms that needed to be gone. But I've never seen a cedar room this big. This is cool. Lots of old farm equipment too, and here's one of the Tennessee Historical Quarterly. 1950, 45, 46. Stepping on stuff. The wood bugger's gonna come out of here and get me. Alright, so here is the accesses to the little walkway here. Panic room is what I'll call it. It's an old bench over there, some chairs. But nothing else really. Them beams on the wood though, you can see the hatchet marks on these. Those are also tin shingles. Tin shingles are have always been very interesting thing to look at. So again, I cannot stress, don't come up here. You know, you will get caught. There's no way around it. Bunch of old books. Collapsed. Geographic magazine. Who's this? Is that Eisenhower? I don't know who that is. There's another door right there, but it's blocked. More Life magazine. 1947. What about that? Homemaking. It's an old meat grinder, I think is what that is. It's an old table. Some stuff down there. What have we got here? Some pottery in there. Some pottery, little bits, just mostly just old books though. Meat grinder, maybe a flour grinder, I don't know. Oh, that's cool. See the tin shingles over there too, and that middle chimney. Very interesting. I wonder if that's free floating now. Maybe they've got it attached somehow. So this is neat right here. It's one of those old changing curtains. So this is a cool thing to note here. I'm trying to find my way over there. You guys, maybe you can, maybe you can't. Right there, dead ahead on that beam right there, is the letters XVII. So that right there tells me that is the 27th beam of this house. And there's another one over here. So there are 27 beams in this roof. And I've seen that at Rural Mount. I made a very excellent point of that when I covered it. This is a very, very old baby stroller. I don't know what this thing is, maybe a weave? I don't know. College typewriter. Shutters. Hats. Nice. KC, show KC a picture of this cedar room. She's proud of hers, but man, oh man. This is impressive. Some dresses. What's over here? Can't see that first time around. I hope this flashlight's been bright enough for you. Alright, well, now what we're going to do is we're going to walk around the house. I'm going to take some pictures of those fireplaces. Well, it's a workout getting down them stairs. That's cool. What is this? Laboratory outline, introductory qualitative analysis. Don't know. All right, folks. Let's go walk around the house. Now we're walking around. You can hear that beeping. That's the security system. Please don't come in this house. That right there, those cornices on that eave, I don't know if those are original or not, but if they are, I mean, of course this part of the house was built a little later on, but that's a considerable show of wealth if you had that on your property, on your house. The porch, a good sized porch. This house puts me a lot in mind of Rural Mount. This here is slightly terrifying. The bricks is sunk down a little bit, but that can be easily fixed. More lead glass. Imagine the stories that have been told on this porch. So this looks like the original placement for the porch, but maybe it's been redone. So this is super neat. Some scaffolding where they was doing some work. Way up there, I don't know if you guys can see it, make it out on my GoPro. That is a very nice crown on this chimney. Big old piece of wood there. So the house sits on limestone blocks. That's really cool because, like I said, this house puts me a lot in mind of Rural Mount and even the Ripley Stone house, even though that house is like a cot compared to this thing. So you can see some of the brick on the chimney. So they say that the brick on this house was made, fired on site by the enslaved. So it's a really nice limestone block. Looks like it's random ashlar placement. But of course that's just foundation. It doesn't really matter too much in the long run. That big iron bar there, you see, that looks a little, some of those bolts look a little bit more modern, but that's what's holding the house together. You see that on a lot of these older stone and brick houses. I ain't gonna get up on the porch. It's safe, but I ain't gonna get up on it. So right there you can see those holes. Those are for a different placement of the porch here. What it was, I don't know. I haven't been able to find too many pictures of it online. There's the new kitchen. You can see just the difference between this side of the house and that side. Now, cool thing to point out is the stucco on this. In the National Registry report, it mentions that this house is historical in value, not, you know, for more reasons than one, but it specifically notes the stucco and the way it's done. I wonder if Captain Armstrong brought that in. Now you gotta have air in a place like this. One of the chimneys. Now the family says that this side of the house did collapse at one point. This wall did collapse, but they redone it pretty beautifully. So y'all remember that door, right? Imagine just getting up in the morning and accidentally walking out and having a bad day. So it looks like there may, you can see some of it right there. Let me get closer. Looks like there may have been a little porch here on this side of the house, but I'm not sure. Just looking real close at this brick. Little holes. Don't know what purpose they would have served other than supports for the porch. So you can see that bolt there holding in this side of the house. There's one on the other side too. All right, folks. This is your tour of Stony Point here in Hawkins County. Again, for God's sake, don't come here. You're not gonna like what happens. So thank you guys for watching. As always, like, share, and subscribe. There may be one more video come out this year. I don't know, maybe one or two more. I really want to go and see if the original Town of Bean Station has surfaced. If it hasn't, well, we'll just wait till the lake's down low enough. Thanks for watching. This has been the Old History Project. See you guys next time.